Chapter D, HIS Story or History? Wanyeniek vu how the diversity among the people and wanted them to coexist in peace, so e organised en educational system and sans for Neuriglissar to relocate from Madina Altanwir to Tucson. Neuriglissar organised some of his students to become teachers, and the people learned about each other's history, culture, and religious belief. Neuriglissar and Wanyeniek vu wanted every nationality and culture to live together to serve and fight for Sabaoth. They held a meeting and demanded the entire area and all the location under Wanyeniek vu rule to teach, and all had to attend, starting from the age of 15. The people loved their new family and felt like they belonged for the first time, and they served Sabaoth with their mind, body, and soul, calling it El Círculo de Dios, or the Circle of God. After everything was said and done, everyone noticed. Everyone and everything. Their education system was so organized the people willingly began teaching each other and opened their minds and hearts to their new neighbor. It did not surprise Wanyeniek vu that many people knew the history and stories of their culture very well, and many could go back to the of years, except their new Wakatilian family. From Picacho Peak to Colonia Anahuac, the 12 battalion took on military responsibility for a month. They rested, learned, and cared for their family until their division was called upon, 1 month of duty and 11 months of rest. Many wise and intelligent members of the group took class. The leader of each battalion took course on various subjects but everyone added Wakatilian history, until everyone was familiar with it. They talked about the unsung heroes of slavery, the civil rights movement, sport, educational heroes, and much more. People like Horace King, Tom Molino, John Baxter Taylor Jr. Erlen Brown, and Harold Greer. They talked about Reverend William Washington Brown, a former Georgia slave who founded the first ever black-owned bank in America, the Savings Bank of the Grand Fountain United Order of True Reformed. Onesimus, an enslaved man who created a way to keep people from getting sick with smallpox? The story of Jaswant Singh Rawa, the gallant rifleman, eagerly regarded as the hero of the Indochina War, and William Ellison, a former slave who once was one of the wealthiest men in the South. However, many took that Wanyeniek vu would teach about history, but he introduced his life's lesson, to their surprise. The things he learned on his way to Arizona, taught him something he didn't know or things he took for granted. He taught his pupil skill, such as communication and interpersonal skill, decision-making and problem-solving, creative thinking and critical thinking, self-awareness, and empathy, which he called emotional intelligence. He taught assertiveness, stability, integrity, and resilience. Friedrich taught history. He would open his class with question to question the author of history, saying, the interpretation of any author could be wrong, or does the written record reflect the historian's insight, bias, and limitation? One must research that history on their own and gather their conclusion. For instance, if the Mexican and Texas Rangers wrote from their side of the story, what would be the facts and opinion during La Matanza? Since the Mexicans are all dead, let us see what we know. When the Texas Rangers were formed, they were supposed to be the symbol of American toughness at the border. They battled the indigenous for dominance in the region, chased down runaway slaves who sought freedom deep within Mexico, and settled score with Union who challenged the Anglo-American project in Texas. These Texas Rangers and some white civilian vigilant shared the same views. Yet, they murdered thousands of Mexicans and Tejanos, an amused for Mexican descendant Americans in South Texas. We are supposed to hide them heroes. Some were Mexican revolutionary, but most were ordinary people caught in the viol crossfire. We know this, a fact. La Matanza broke out between the rising tension between Texas and Mexico following the Mexican Revolution. After the Revolution, Mexican refugees migrated to the US, looking to escape the violence and political unrest in their own country, causing the Mexican population in Texas to triple, which led to violence on the border. The bandit warned a series of Texas raids carried out by Mexican rebels from Tamaulipas, Coahuila, and Chihuahua led to Anglo-Texan counter-raid involving the Texas Rangers, who were responsible for the death of 5,000 Mexican Americans. President Woodrow Wilson ordered 110,000 more National Guardsmen from state militia to the border for patrol duty in Brownsville, Texas, to help with the violence at the border. But we know, also well, what happens when you move into America's white neighborhood. But yet and still, they have claimed to be Native Americans for money and land, reach the term, the $5 Indian. We know how they have wiped out the entire African population for resource for centuries. But if it weren't for the more, they probably would have died of century ago. Getting off the subject, which Friedrich often did, et had to look back onto his notebook. Okay, the lynching of law-abiding Mexican Americans include Antonio Rodriguez, Jesus Bazan, and Hidalgo commissioner Antonio Longoria. Now, let's look at this because often, we listen to the stories of the hunter but never the hunted. The Texas Rangers became so notorious for their brutality against Mexican and Mexican Americans that they dubbed them Los Diablo Tejano, which means the Texan Devils. The Rangers were responsible for slaughtering thousands of Mexican Americans during their reign of terror. Still, they could get away with the violence as the Texas legislature would account of their brutality. Although, they are tearing for the public to see. The facts are simple. The Texas Rangers shot Jesus Bazan and his son-in-law Antonio Longoria, the elected commissioner of Hidalgo County, dead a road horse on a dirt road. They committed no crime, but were killed by the Rangers, who they suspected were Mexican bandit sympathizers. They both came from well-respected, land-owning family, and Longoria was an elected official. Or how about Antonio Rodriguez? They accused him of murdering 40-year-old white woman, Effie Gray Henderson, who was found on her porch with a bullet wound to the head and back. They arrested Rodriguez the following day and accused him of killing her in cold blood because she was supposedly rude when he asked her for food. Without a trial, he was beaten, lynched, and burned alive. Mexican investigator from San Antonio opened an investigation afterward. They found out that the Rock Spring local didn't know anything of Rodriguez, which sparked an outrage that reached his hometown of Guadalajara. How about Leon Martinez Jr., a Mexican-born and Texas-raised man, was lynched after being arrested on suspicion of murdering a 26-year-old white woman. He was the last person seen speaking to her, and despite proclaiming his innocence, he was pressured to confess to the crime by a viol mob and was hanged. Eventually, State Representative José Canal investigated the brutality of the Texas Rangers and state police against Mexican Americans. Canal presented the case and gathered evidence and testimony from witnesses about the Rangers' racist violence. When the case went to trial, Canal brought 19 charges against the Texas Rangers, but after a lengthy court battle, they ultimately dropped the charge, of course. Friedrich paused before saying, "Of subject, but most people don't know this because it isn't being told, nor written, even took the blacks started the civil rights, every race other than the black reaped the benefit from the civil rights bill. And I mean way more than any black person did. But back on track. Suppose we search for the real history of the police in America. They started as ex-gunslinger guarding the wealth of the rich on stagecoach. They were also slave catchers working for slave owners whose slaves were their cash crop. From there, they protected the turn of the century wealthy landowner from the bandit and disgruntled land seeker and outlaw seeking gold. A pair of them developed into the infamous clan. A newly freed black were prospering and building townships like Black Wall Street, while the Great Depression destroyed white wealth. They were hired or volunteered to cut, protect the white people, from black uprising. They were behind the many white Rio of the 1920s to 1950s, which launched the black civil rights movement. White supremacists were always in law enforcement since the era of the Marshal and the Sheriff, which name they took from the Blackmore who ruled this l'enfort century. Marshal is just appelé on more and Sheriff is really Sheriff or a ruling class of more. The star is also African Moorish and is taken from Ethiopia and the Star of David. These people invaded a land already settled and ruled by black indigenous people who kept much of their ancient culture and took it over. They had no culture or civil life of their own. They learned from US, have always stolen, and profited from our culture, but have envié US. Friedrich's buzzer went off and interrupted him. Okay, class, that'll do it for today. North American colonist warfare against Native Americans often was horrifyingly brutal, like the gifting of blanket and linen contaminated with smallpox. I need a paper from you to describe your thoughts on this matter. Wanyenyekvu also appointed that 10% of everyone's land belonged to the community. Since some land was there while others were fertile, they used speedster to build irrigation system for gardening and livestock. Manisaw a changed in Queen, she learned and talked ecological stability and influential couple in history. She talked about US President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, Chef Marcus and Maya Samuelson, Denzel and Pauletta Washington, Omar and Keisha Epps, Angela Bassett and Courtney B. Vance. Jonathan and Delia talked class on electronics and engineering and headed up the research and development team. OBE talked with his son, De Carish, by his side. He talked his pupil about indigenous people and their land, like the Dravidian or Arapian, the black race of people who first civilized what used to be called India and Pakistan thousands of years before the Hindu culture did. Daniel gave an impressive class on Egyptian history. Elisha talked about the miseducation of the so-called African American people. Neriglissar was nicknamed Big Teddy Bear because everyone loved him everywhere. He talked about the art, bringing back music and dancing to the people, telling stories of artists from every genre, and creating holiday and celebration for all culture to enjoy. Told stories of such great like Blind Lemon Jefferson, Roger Prince Nelson, Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix, The Lever Family, Marvin Gaye, Donny Hathaway and his Dr. Lala. On Neriglissar's first day, he talked about Celia Cruz, Celia de la Caridad Cruz Alfonso showed the entire world that life is a carnival. A Latin America's Black Queen, an influential artist in Latin music, and a crucial black icon in a culture that didn't celebrate blackness. She was born in Havana, Cuba. She learned Santeria music. Thanks to her neighbor, a practitioner and singer. Despite her father's disapproval at first, because he was a devoted Catholic, but agreed along as she stayed in school. She started dabbling in Yoruba, a language spoken in West Africa. After 15 years of working with the Matansra, she became a staple of Havana's nightlife, and appeared in some famous golden age of Mexican cinema movies. When Fidel Castro rose to power, Celia was touring in Mexico, and when she attempted to return to Cuba and deny entry. She became a US citizen after joining the legendary Tito Puente. Determined to conquer the Cuban community who had settled in the US, her unique fashion style honored her Afro-Caribbean root merging element of Cuban culture and her African ancestry. She became one of the most important salsa and tropical music figure, two genres historically dominated by men. Mercy talked about the deception of the Jews. Two things don't lie. That is the truth and DNA. Let's take the origin of the Ashkenazi Jews from Europe. Does this not contradict the fact that the European Jews primarily descend from people who left Israel and the Middle East 2000 years before? Most of the population originate from local Europeans, who converted to Judaism. Little is known about their history before they were expelled from the Mediterranean and settled in Poland. We know that Ashkenazi Jews are genetically related to each other a fourth or fifth cousin. Research got strange answer for whether Ashkenazi originally came from Europe or the Near East. Past research found that 50 to 80% of DNA from the Ashkenazi Y chromosome was used to trace the Near East small lineage, which supported a story that Jews came from Israel and their intermarriage when they settled in Europe. However, based on account by the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, that said, by the time of the destruction of the Second Temple in AD 70, a many as 6 million Jews were living in the Roman Empire. Therefore, there is no way that both statements could be true because only about 500,000 lived in Judea. The major Jewish community were outside Judea, when they analyzed mitochondrial DNA contained in the egg's cytoplasm and passed down only from the mother, from more than 3,500 people through the Near East, the Caucasus, and Europe, including Ashkenazi Jews. They found that only 4 founders were responsible for 40% of Ashkenazi mitochondrial DNA, and they originated in Europe. We could trace most of the remaining people to other European lineage. Over 80% of the maternal family of Ashkenazi Jews could be traced to Europe, with only a few originating in the Near East. None came from the North Caucasus, along the border between Europe and Asia, between the Black and Caspian Seas. Most Ashkenazi Jews can trace their route to the mysterious Khazar kingdom that flourished during the 9th century in the region between the Byzantine and Persian Empire. The genetics suggest many of the founding Ashkenazi women were converted from local European population. The simplest explanation was that it was mainly women who converted, and they married men who they come from the Near East. Another possibility is that Jews actively converted both men and women among local population at this time. Gamal Abdel Nasser, the second president of Egypt in 1956. Abdel went on television and radio in the les années 50 and stated to the Ashkenazi, "You have left black and returned white, you are impostor and shall never see peace," similar to the $5 Indian in the late 1800s. White men could claim land if they could prove they were Native Americans, and you could do just that for $5 at the registrar's office. How many years passed for each generation to keep believing in this lie, that they were Native Americans? Grace opened her class by saying, "The Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Wakatilian male, called the Tuskegee experiment or Tuskegee syphilis study." An ethically abusive study was conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States. The Public Health Service and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on nearly 400 Wakatilians with syphilis. They define research as systematic and creative action taken to increase knowledge about human, culture, and society and to apply it in new areas of interest by using systematic and constructed scientific methods to obtain, analyze, and interpret data. My question is, we know who, we know what, we know how, and we even know the when and where. So, why did they want this done, and what was their conclusion to their data? When Aldib came to his first class, he made his family and friends attend with Wanyényekuvu, Jom, OBE, and the rest sitting on the front row of the classroom, eclaired his throat and spoke of self-respect and self-worth. My name is Aldib. Before he made Wanyényekuvu, a matter of fact, he was the one that named him Wanya because he couldn't, no, he take that back. He didn't want to learn his name, Wanyényekuvu. Back then, they knew me as Jonathan. He sold drew to my people for profit. He did many things for profit and didn't take care about Anion be my brother. They said that Drew are the gateway to people becoming who they are. He disagree, Drew are not the gateway to being a negative person. His trauma, childhood abuse, molestation, and neglect are the gateway condition, and the symptoms are drug abuse, viol behavior, hypersexuality, and self harm. These conditions lead a person to become who they become. Good or bad. I am reminded of the infamous DMXS word, always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact you see them. It takes so much energy not to trust someone, trust them to be them. Trust a snake too. Beat you, trust a liar to lie to you, trust a thief to steal from you, but hide them when you see them. You see, this place is a dream for me. Trusting people is a far-fetching thing where I'm from, for many will quickly stab you in the back for little of nothing. They would kill anyone, even those not a part of that street life. But that dream has become a reality, accept it, believe it, and receive it. He was ashamed of who he was and who he had become, but our childhood was not pretty. So, he said, be yourself and be proud of who you are. Me and my brother John were raised in the gutter, in the street. Before and after losing our parents at an early age. Our father was a pimp, and our mother was one of his hoes. Don't feel sorry for me one bit, for the pain that he endured made me who I am today. I'm not going to give you my entire story, but many of you know or heard about me before we came here and my marriage to the joy of my life. He paused, then smiled, he never get tired of saying that. My childhood created something in me that has allowed me to be just that, me. But I have seen people in the street make 100 times more than the next man and have this air about themselves. I have seen people smarter than others and have an air about themselves to those less intelligent. Yes, I curse not a much, especially around those who have soft ear. But for century, we have taken caught bad word and made them into word of endearment. Christian was a negative word, and it became a blessing. Nigger was a negative word, and it was changed into nigga. It was changed into a blessing, en honor even. I have done many things that made me hard to get along with, but I have changed. It might be strange to some who never experience these things in which I experience, but I'm no longer ashamed of who or what I am. The Torah says in 1 Peter 2:9 that we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praise of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Il learned to accept and not be mad or jaloux because he lacked intelligence or money. He was arrogant and selfish, but it is no more it is about that lives within me. Everything he ever wanted is here, and we are all equal, and we all are one. Everyone stood up and applauded Aldib et placed his papers in a briefcase, and Wanyinyekevu stood up to leave. Aldib looked at Wanyinyekevu, Mr. Wanya, where you think you're going? Wanyinyekevu said, I thought you were true. Aldib smiled, Mr. Did his class dismissed? Wanyinyekevu sat back down, no, sir. Aldib said, Laughter is the medicine we all need to ease our stress, relax the soul. That reminds me of Wanya when we first met. He was an uptight and serious man. He made a few corny jokes, and then they got pretty funny as time passed, and in battle, he was so confident he was actually hilarious and bold. He got that from me. Wanyinyekevu smiled and shook his head to agree as Aldib continued. Laughter was the remedy for me, for if you look at it, life is funny. It's nothing more than the truth. It might not be when you see the problem, going through the crisis, but it's funny after a while and looking at the silly things we do as humans, what we do for love and material gain. We have to look at ourselves and see how life is funny and don't get caught up in this world, but get caught up in about. Now, Mr. Wanya, he finished, class, dismissed, as the crowd logged. Wanyinyekevu returned home, felt extremely tired for no reason, and took a nap after Aldib's class lying down, and falls asleep. He sees Queen walking toward him, happy, and asked, Why are you so happy today? Smiling, she replied, Cause I see you, handsome, let's go to the lake, enjoy the view, and play sleep rock. They enjoy a lake for hours and return home as the evening close. On their way home, there's a party going on. Whose celebration is this for? Queen Log, it's your, silly, happy birthday. The crowd grows large by the minute, and the Air Queen say, because of him, my friends and family are gone. Wanyanyekuvus smile become a frown, and in a ball of confusion, a look at the people is surrounded by and notice no one. Until Wanyanyekuvus sees his sister talking to Queen, but he did it force about. A tall muscle. Man comes to the celebration, and Queen's face lights up, and she shoo, my king, where have you been? The stranger look at Wanyanyekuvu, raises his brows and smile, and says to Queen, he been around, baby. They both disappear and are seen upstairs in Queen's room moment. Latte. Queen change cloth in front of the man with her breast out and shake them side to side as the man stare at Wanyanyekuvu again with an evil smile. Queen's shooted outside the window to everyone at the party, if a nigga come looking for me, tell him you'll ready got a man. Wanyanyekuvu wake up from his dream, I try to understand his vision, et turn to see something written in his notepad when he sees someone else's handwriting on one of the page in his book. Looking at the writing, he noticed it was Queen's handwriting. Furious that someone wrote and read his latest desire, he spoke into his earpiece. Queen. Where's your location? Queen hearing his tone, replied, at the lake, what is so wrong? Wanyanyekuvu, thinking about his dream, just said, I'm on my way. Rushing to his skycraft, he opened the book and started reading what Queen had written, and his steps got slower and slower as he reached his skycraft. It's beautiful. Wanyanyekuvu took to himself. Upon reaching Queen, she noticed the notepad in his hand. I know you're mad, but you wrote that? Wanyanyekuvu smiled. He was mad because no one has ever seen my work, Andy. Realizing the dream was a trick, he said, I didn't know you wrote so beautifully. I came here to give you a piece of my mind, but I think I would rather give you a piece of my heart. I love it, and honestly, I think I love you, but I never had the heart to tell you. Because I'm shy. Queen grabbed the book, opened it to the poem, and read what she wrote alu. So, you want to be my boy, the one that only my heart will know. Entering into the depth of one entire soul, a wee bond and continue to grow. Understanding the meaning of love. Through the word we share. Leaning on one another when the load is more than one can bear. Reading your heart with the look in your eye. Never allowing our love to die. Standing by my side through this storm of life. For you have chosen me to be your wife. For now, and forever until death do us part. Queen softly grabbed Wanyanyekuvu by his chin and looked him in the eyes, and continued. If you can promise that, you can have the keys to my heart. You ask, if I am the one. Is this time for real? Only if we really understand how we feel. The love we share is not yet of physical touch. So, are you sure? That it is me, that you love so much? I never knew true love, I never thought it was for me. Now you tell me that it could be. A chosen one even for me. That it is you. My love, so true, that you have waited so long to embrace. Standing at the altar. Now love fill that empty space. A we stand face to face. Wanyanyekuvu said. I promise. And Queen kissed Wanyanyekuvu, and said, I promise I will. Wanyenyekevu looked at Queen and said, "He will be your Adam, and you will be my Eve." And of the top of his head, Wanyenyekevu said to Queen, "In my eyes, is my Eve. I am committed to my Queen, dedicated to my Queen. Eve. Mother of the living. You talked the hour of love and compassion, the hour of Jivin. Populated the foundation, talked wisdom to the mans of the weak. Made time to give of yourself. Molded me to be me. I felt all leur pain, frustration, and anguish. Yet it was hidden with a smile. Felt all her joy, happiness, and love. Having eyes to see, because you are, a part of me. The Almighty guided me to you. He was pleased, and gave you me. My Eve. An hour that many people were there, they started cheering and heard a few people saying, about time. Like wildfire, the news was spread through the region about Queen and Wanyenyekevu. Dark Eagle and the rest of Wanyenyekevu's closest friends celebrated for days. A people were happy to welcome the new couple. On the festival's last night, Wanyenyekevu lay down, an hour and was dreaming, and heard a voice, "Why is it you can sleep, young liberté? HAS the spirit of Sabaoth prepared you for your journey." Wanyenyekevu spoke to the man, an hour the man had called him liberté, "What journey do you speak of?" I just couldn't sleep and walked along the lake until I came across. "How is it you know my name?" Wanyenyekevu was putting up a notebook in his hand and gathering his thoughts. I stood up. The messenger continued. "The spirit of King Solomon is upon you. The wisdom, heart, and soul of King Solomon you have been blessed with. Many times Sabaoth has used just one man to get his people to see. Like the prophet Elijah and Elisha and Kunploter. You and your descendants will use word of wisdom, peace, and the sword to destroy Sabaoth's enemy. Your writing have reached the ear of Sabaoth, and they rejoice in your word. For this reason, you are no longer called liberté, but Wanyenyekevu." The old man transformed into a wolf. Wanyenyekevu shook his head and rubbed his eye as the old man continued, "In 3 days, you will see me again in this form, and he will be your guide on a journey. For 3 days, you shall perform the holy jeûne and bid your family farewell, for they will not see you for 150 seasons. Know this, before you leave the state of Louisiana, you shall endure many trial and tribulation to enhance your spiritual man and physical body that will prepare you for your journey. Be not afraid, for Sabaoth will be with you the entire time." Quickly interrupting. Wanyenyekevu smiled and said, "How can a man live to be 150 seasons, sir? You know that with Sabaoth, all things are possible, but it will not be you, but your blood and your spirit shall return to Sabaoth's people, and this name shall be called Cush." The old man replied. "With your blood, in seeing, you shall see more, and for hearing, you shall hear more. And with your spirit, you shall control the flesh, see with the eyes of Sabaoth, and teach others to do the same." The old man smiled and transformed again. "Behold, your wife." I continue, an image of a beautiful woman appear in a cloud of smoke. "Your spirit are one, and the love you shared will be forever. It will be remembered an example of Sabaoth's happiness between man and woman." "Wife." Wanyenyekevu said Alou, and then he was taken back into darkness and heard another voice. "Adam had to release that and needed Eve. Just like you had to release you needed Aneya, and Aneya had to release she needed you, and you both were meant for each other. Go in peace and be happy with your wife, for many blessings will come to you both." Wanyenyekevu opened his eyes, and it was the next day. Queen approached Wanyenyekevu with a strange look on her face and asked, "Didn't you say your name was Liberté?" Wanyenyekevu looked at her and said, "Yes, why you ask me that?" Queen continued. "He'd read that a young man was at a lake, and Melky appeared to him a wolf at first. Wanyenekuvu said he had the same dream, but what you saw in the dream happened 2 days before he made my journey here, that was over 9 years ago. Queen then took Wanyenekuvu by the hand and took a seat. I've been at Tomboa all my life and never really knew anything about being domesticated. He helped my aunt, but he enjoy hanging out with my brothers fighting, riding horse, and stuff like that. I'm happy about HAS sans you to be my husband, for I know you are a good man, kinda shy, but a good man. Wanyenekuvu smiled as she continued, what I'm trying to say is I'm willing to be the best wife I can be. Wanyenekuvu held her hand, they talked me a young child how to be, how you call it, domesticated and a man. The things I don't know were talked to me on my way here. He was never a warrior, a matter of fact, my grandmother made me cook and clean, telling me, imitating Big Ma voice, you don't need a woman to cook and clean when you can do it yourself. So, what you don't know? We can do together and learn from each other. That's how we become strong and a one. Queen smiled and said, I like that. After Simont, they set a date for their wedding, where Friedrich would wed them, John and Aldib would be his best men, and Dark Eagle would give her away. Late that night, Wanyenekuvu sat on his bed thinking about his conversation with Queen. He looked up and started to talk to us about. Lord, please humble me and make me what you want me to be for you and my wife to be. I'm nervous and can't sleep worrying about being married to such a beautiful and strong woman. Ask this in your son's name, Amen. I toss and turn in his bed, and reach for his pen and paper and writes, Selfric teu. The price of never being wrong, is never being right. You say to yourself, no one can tell me anything. You say you got all the answer to everything is correct. They are all right. But that's to you and only you. Selfric teu. Open-minded to nothing, close-minded to everything. Selfric teu. Did you know that being wrong helps you learn how to be right? Do right. But being right all the time make you wrong. Do wrong. And that knows the answer to everything, knows nothing. There's only one who knows all. As above, not down here amongst the sphere. But to self-ric teu people they can no hear the word that he say. We that learn from our wrong, learn to do right, be ric teu. Not self-ric teu. So, humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and they shall lift you up. Den Eorot poetess. Word of love, word of pain, word of relief, the poetess. She describe her life, her feeling, and emotion amin. A phrase of determination, a fragment of joy, sentence that combine the two. The poetess. Reach into the hat, to break away the stones. The walls that have been built up. The poetess. Vowel of passion, syllable that come to life. Consonant that grow deep inside you that someday will shine. Letting the world know, feel and see. The poetess. Eorot. Who is to blame? When the sun refuses to shine. Who is to blame? When the star refuses to sparkle at night. Many times, it seems like, I'm the blame just for being a man. No one is always right, trying the best that he can. J'y my all, but that seems like, it's just not enough. Baby, who is to blame? They said that your love is pure gold, that is what I've been told. If that is true, grab a hold, because my love will unfold. I go through ups and downs. Many times, you've even seen my pain. Give me time, give me space, the only thing I ask. Who is to blame? Who is to blame when I need help? Can I call on you or will you let me down? Always been there for you, you know this is true. I did it because I cared. Now in my pain. You're never here, who's to blame. Eoroth, searching for love. Wanting to be adored for my mind, not for my money. Saying, no money, no honey. Always getting hurt, searching for love. At becoming so cold, searching for love. Always giving, never receiving. Would life be better alone? Hell no. That would be a sad, sad song. Done all that I know, searching for love. Looking for just one to show me love. The 15 from heaven above. I've turned down the right ones and chose the wrong ones in the past. Searching for love. Lust deceived me. Lies made them, believe me. Searching for love. Searching for love. No more, ILL let love find me. Then Eoroth, take my hat. Just take. Take my hat. Giving you all that I got. Tired of trying so hard to look for love, so, take my hat and do I will. Whatever you like. Tired of being used, abused, or even someone's substitute. Gave you a treasure that can't be measured. Can you see the pain? Can you see the love he had in the past? Years ago. He gave you the best, gave you me, but you couldn't see. Take my hat. Do whatever you like, tear it apart. Whatever is in your hat. Trusting your love caused lonely. You came to me with your arms opened wide. An unexpected dream, you said. But allez ici now is pride, lying next to you. He realized that our love has died. He told you, I was crying, you can have my hat. Take my hat. Now, please, leave my hat alone. Queen's battalion was up for their cycle to protect the perimeter, and the week after their return would be the wedding day. While Queen and her battalion were on duty, Wanninikvu prepared his house at their home, and they agreed on where they would live. With the help of his friend and speedster Grace, they prepare a beautiful home for him and Queen. A big beautiful, spacious stucco home, for she had already said she wanted a large family, so Wanninikvu planted a vegetable garden on one side of the house and an HERB garden on the other. Front and back of the house, there was enough space to grow beautiful flowers and evergreen grass, and the rest of the land was open land with horse and farm animal and an enormous barn and workspace to work the ground that they pleased. He used 20 pairs of the land instead of 10 pairs for the community to raise and breed horse. The community came together and helped Wanninikvu, and this top official decorate the rest of the property for the wedding and the biggest wedding party they had ever seen. Once Queen's duty were completed, John and his battalion took responsibility for the perimeter, but made sure he was nearby not to miss the ceremony, seeing he was the best man. Grace, Mercy, and Joy coordinated it all and helped with all the electrical and computerized work, installing microphone, monitor, and speaker within the zoo. While Elia and Elisha configure and install their outside the zoo. The estimated crowd size was in the 200, and the zoo would only hold some of them. Dark Eagle and his sont prepared CP and smoked Queen's favorite food, and around designated her the most beautiful dress. Daniel and OBE organized security and seating arrangement by region. Neuriglissar gathered all the classical music and heard Wanninikvu play, a mixture of R&B by Joe, avant, Anita Baker, and Luther Vandross and some jazz by Najee, Santana, and Grover Washington, Jr.